Welcome everybody. I apologise for the delay in getting started. A few technical difficulties on our end. I'm Tate from Cadimage Group. We're going to be just like to take the opportunity to thank you all for your time, allowing us to present this webinar to you. Of course, we're looking at Solibri Model Checker version 9. For those of you not familiar with Cadimage Group, we were established 24 years ago as a CAD bureau, and in that time the company has evolved into a customer-focused sales and support organisation for construction and design industries. As well as being able to provide a number of out-of-the-box solutions, such as Solid Edge, FEMAT, Atlantis and Solibri, we also have an in-house development team who develop additional add-on tools to enhance the productivity of these packages. My PowerPoint's not really working for some reason. There we go. This year has seen the team relocate our head office to a newer, larger premises, providing us with a more of an open plan layout, a larger training facility, which gives us the opportunity to produce more focused, specific training to a larger spectrum of users and fields. In January this year, we acquired two additional companies, Encina in the UK and Endurasim in Sydney. The acquisition of these two companies has seen the opening of additional offices, giving the Cadimage Group a presence in Australia, the UK, as well as New Zealand. Having a support office in Bristol means that we're now able to provide technical support to all time zones with a minimum of downtime. Our team has had some significant growth. We now have 26 core staff members. Most of our team have been hired directly out of their respective industries and come on board with a wealth of knowledge and experience. The end result being a highly skilled team focused on providing our customer base with the best technical support possible and, of course, the experience to back it up. We're proud now to present to you Solibri Model Checker version 9. Just for some of you, we're going to quickly recap. Solibri was founded in 1999 to develop and market solutions to improve the quality of building information models and to make the entire design process more productive. Solibri is well recognised as the pioneer in automating the checking and analysis of the BIM model, saving your company both time and money. Solibri is the leader in BIM quality assurance, quality control, providing out-of-the-box tools for BIM validation, compliance control, design checking processes, coordination, design review, analysis, clash detection, and code checking. As well, the Solibri solution also offers Solibri Model Viewer, which is a free software that allows additional parties to examine the checking results and visualize the building. There is also the Solibri IFC Optimizer, which heavily reduces IFC file sizes, making distribution of files quicker and simpler. Solibri corporate head office is located in Helsinki, Finland, with US headquarters in Scottsdale, Arizona. There are 12 partners in the USA, 10 in Europe, 1 in the Middle East, and 3 in Asia, with Cadimage New Zealand servicing Australasia. A number of users is always expanding, currently at around 7,000 users in over 70 different countries. Solibri's customer base includes a rapidly growing number of building owners and users, construction companies, consultants, architects, and engineering firms. Major building owners, the Senati, is the Finnish equivalent of the US GSA, who manage all the government buildings. US Coast Guard actually owns a huge number of buildings as well as boats, surprisingly. Construction companies, constructing billions of dollars worth of assets, are leveraging Solibri throughout the project timeline. Architects, including a number of prominent Australian architects, both here and in Australia, Rice Daubney, Hassel, FJMT, etc., and also a number of engineering consulting firms, all of whom are using Solibri for coordination, quality control, and quantity information. This version of Solibri Model Checker, i.e. version 9, has seen the development of 4 key areas, with the emphasis continuing to be on improving the ease of use, both in terms of optimizing the use of Solibri Model Checker and the effective administration for users. The first major development is the introduction of the Solibri Solution Center, or SSC. This gives us a central access point for all things Solibri. Except of course, your members' content from solibri.com.au. So anything that we supply you is obviously available from our website. Solibri Solution Center also gives us a cloud-based license administration function, which allows simple and better management of users and licenses. There is enhanced rule set functionality with the introduction of new self-configurable rule sets, and a big focus on quality information. It's not just data, it's now easier to share additional added information into issue slides, etc., with others working in the project team. You can share changes from the architect or forward to the construction team. Solibri Model Checker now has the possibility to add rule names, category names, issues and descriptions. You can also add hyperlinks to BIM standards or building codes straight into your rules. This allows more people to get more information when they need it most. The Solibri Solution Center is a cloud-based meeting point. The main focus behind it is to access the latest solutions for quality assurance and quality control. The customized content will come from Solibri, its partners such as ourselves, third-party developers, and multiple BIM organizations. Solibri CEO Heikki Kulusjärvi says, "We are introducing a new environment that will expand the BIM ecosystem. Solibri understands that each country, region, and even project has specific requirements. The content on this Solibri Solution Centers will be frequently updated, and as BIM continues to evolve, there will be a wide range of content to choose from." You'll also be able to access and download your new versions of the Solibri Model Checker, Solibri Model Viewer, and the Solibri IFC Optimizer. Sorry, I've gone one step too far there. As well as having access to a large range of additional resources, such as special rule sets. Those of you who have our accessibility rule sets from New Zealand will be able to find these here. There'll be other additional productivity add-ons, such as the Cadimage BCF tool and other useful functions, and additional extensions, such as the Kobe resources, which can be downloaded and installed straight into your active SMC. You'll find the protection for your intellectual property. There is protection for your intellectual property. Rule sets that are uploaded can be restricted so that they can be used by your collaborators but cannot be forwarded on to others in the community. So anything that you share with somebody specific, they won't be able to export from Solibri and then pass on to anyone else. There will also be the ability to download specific additional resources directly into your active session of Solibri by clicking on the install option next to the resource in question. For example, the Kobe extension will install a new tab in your SMC as you are working. We also have the new licensing system. Sorry, I missed a slide out here, sorry. Discuss those things there. There is a new licensing system. The current licensing system has had a major overhaul. The traditional standalone license file and license server files have been replaced with a cloud-based system. This gives the ability to manage who has access to your licenses and when in a much more straightforward process. Once a license is purchased, the first user in the account, who is nominated as the account admin, receives an email from the Solibri Solution Center. They follow this link to log into the Solibri Solution Center and change their password. From within the Solution Center, the admin is able to create additional users and designate them as either users or admin roles. Once the users have been created, the Solution Center will send an email to the address listed on their profile with login instructions. The user will follow this link to the SSC and be prompted to change their password at this point. Once the password has been updated, the users can then open up their SMC, enter their username and password, and they'll automatically be connected to the cloud server. Then they'll be able to continue working as normal. If you are adding a new user who does not yet have Solibri installed on their machine, there is a link in the automated email that will direct them to the download portal at solibri.com. This new approach removes the need for constantly updated license files being sent to the users, as well as less downtime while the servers are updated. It also means you don't have to go through the process of generating the host ID files if you want to update your hardware. If we now look at the rules and rule sets, we can begin to see where Solibri have spent a lot of their development time. The majority of the development work has focused around allowing users the ability to have more control over the rules and rule sets. The result being more intelligent rule sets. For these intelligent rule sets to work, we need to further identify the individual BIM models, i.e. the building type, the project phase, the general geographical locations, etc. The self-configurable rule sets include the ability to differentiate rules specific to different phases of documentation, building types, building code requirements, etc., as well as the ability to check issues that are not related to modeled information. We've also noticed the inclusion of hyperlinks directly into rules. Using the building definitions allows us to define our projects a lot more specifically. These definitions can be used to specify things such as the type of building, the phase of the design, or the location of the building. This information becomes important when we start looking at the self-configurable rule sets. This information is added to our model using a new task in the to-do list. In a newly created rule set, we can click the Add button to add a task. In this example, we can see we're using the type of building. We then edit the task in the task list options to include the different building types. So here we see what type of building is it, and we have the options of school, office, apartment, shopping centre, hospital, etc. Obviously, these could be whatever we want them to be. Once we've done that, we simply load the rule set into our checking tab, and the to-do list will populate with the new task. Clicking on this task will bring up the dialog box, allowing you to define your building. The introduction of these building definitions can have a big way on the way that Solibri Model Checker version 9 works. The more intelligent rule sets allow us to create what we call mega rule sets that contain all rules required for different building definitions. As a building is developed, we need to be able to do simple checking for issues such as design consistency and spatial layout. Later in the project, we need to check more complicated issues, e.g. accessibility. Version 9 allows you to choose what you check and at what time stage. As the project progresses, you can choose to access more complex rule sets as needed. Rule sets can also be chosen to match the type of building, e.g. hospital or school in your project. In the illustrated example I have here, I've created a complete BIM validation mega rule set from concept through developed design to consent. By changing the building definition to concept, the developed design and consent rule sets do not appear. However, if I change from concept to developed design, the existing concept rule set is replaced with the developed design rule set, and the same will happen changing to the consent stage. The main drawcard from this is that once a set of rules has been created, they can all be saved into the same place. This will reduce the amount of library and rule set management required, as well as minimizing the chances of loading an incorrect rule set. If we use the same theory for building type in a school scenario, for example, we can have a mega school rule set with all rules required for different building types, i.e. a gymnasium, administration blocks, standard classrooms, science labs, etc. When we define the building type in the to-do list, only the relevant section of our mega rule will be used. Similarly, if we look at the location of the building, different building codes exist in different geographical locations. For example, in the South Island we might have snow loading. However, in the top of Australia you might have cyclone wind uplift and so on. So you can create a rule set that will cover both options. Solibri have also introduced rule number 232. This allows us to check for non-modelled element information. This may include things like, has my specification been included? What is the aesthetic appearance from a certain perspective? Has the engineer reviewed the last set of drawings, etc.? This information can of course be reported out with all of our other slides and information so that we can report this out into our reports and check to make sure that the relevant people have got the right information. One of the other things that we've also noticed is the addition of hyperlinks. These have been added directly into our rules and rule sets. Previously, we could add hyperlinks to our reports, however, this had to be done manually, adding the correct hyperlink to each issue slide. By adding the hyperlink to the rule in the rule set manager means any time that a report is generated from checked results, the correct hyperlink will automatically be added. This will hopefully result in faster reporting and less possibilities of sending out incorrect hyperlinks, improving productivity and workflow. In the Rule Set Manager workspace, simply select the rule in question, right-click on it to activate the menu command. At the bottom of the list you can see their hyperlink. Just click on that and new hyperlink. Once this is done, your hyperlink will be identified in the results summary, as you can see highlighted here. The hyperlink will also show to the left of the slides in your generated reports, as well as in the comments section of your reports and in your slideshows. Another area that Solibri have poured considerable resources into is the reporting functionalities. In previous versions, we had the ability to set default report notes, in effect speeding up the output process of reports and saving the user from having to manually describe each issue for each slide. This function has had an impressive overhaul. From the File tab, go to Settings and Checking. The modified dialog box allows us to choose more information about the rule or rule set that we want to appear in our slide. As you can see, we can choose to have the rule description, the categories, the issue name, description, and rule name. When going through the checking process within the issue slide, hitting the Set Default button comment will automatically add all or only the information we nominated in the comments section. In saving the best feature for last, we now have the ability to show all components related to an issue. This functionality has been born out of requests from users to be able to show all issues relating to an element at once. Once you've checked the building, we can now select an element. Once you've checked the building, we can now select an issue from the results summary to view it in 3D. And with the element selected, you can now choose from the right-click menu the Show Components and Issues option from the menu. Once this option is enabled, we will see all issues relating to the individual component in the 3D window. We can then choose the individual issues from the info palette to display them individually. This is something that a lot of people have requested in the past, and it's finally come through the process. And in another example of additional reporting functionality, we can now show all of these components in the slide issue in a new tab. In this tab, we can see that we now have, when we are doing our coordination reports, the ability to put in multiple components. So anything that relates to that one specific issue will show up listed here. I'm now just going to flip over to Solibri. So I'm just going to flip through to actually show you a couple of these things in action. It's all very well to see it in a slideshow, but we're hoping that once you see it in action, it'll make a little bit more sense. So we'll just go to Solibri now. What I have here is a building called the Arboleta building. It was from the Open BIM project. What I'm just going to do is I'm just going to hit OK here, go to my checking tab. In here, I'm going to just remove these rule sets. I don't actually want those there, so we're just going to remove those rule sets. I'm just going to add a rule set that we have had created for this option here. So we'll just add a specific rule set. And I have new functionalities, there it is, and hit OK. Now you can see in my to-do list the enumeration user input task. It's asking me to define the type of building. So I'm just going to click on that, and I have here the building type. Before we do that, I'll just move this across here. Hopefully you can see here this rule set, rules for buildings other than apartment buildings. The English is a little bit rough because it came from Finland. So if I click on type of building, when I choose apartment here, when I hit OK, that rule disappears because this is not an apartment building. This actually is an apartment building, but in this particular example rule set, it's saying for buildings other than apartments, this rule set is not applicable. So if we have a look at, if I just go back to my file here and I go to my rule set manager, open up the rule sets in Solibri, just open that up. What you can see here, rules for other than apartment buildings. Over here under the parameters, I have include user input apartment building. This is part of my to-do list, the task that I need to do. As you can see, it's got apartment over here. So if it's apartment, then this doesn't show. So that's quite a helpful little rule. We can also see in here, I'm going to click on, you can notice up here in the example rule set, we've got a hyperlink icon. This is grayed out. But if I dig down into this rule set, I have here the number of drinking fountains. This here has a rule set applied to, hyperlink, sorry. If I click on that hyperlink, sorry, right click, hyperlinks, and show hyperlink. This is the hyperlink that it's got. So if I click on that, it should open up my web browser and take me to the ICC, the International Code Council. And you can see highlighted here is the correct hyperlink for drinking fountains. So this is now embedded into my rule. So when we go back to Solibri Model Checker and I go to checking, sorry, I've just got limited screen space here. I run my check on my building, hit check anyway. Number of drinking fountains. We've got some rules that have come up here in my results summary. You can see that each of these rules, if I report this out by adding a slide, set my default comment and hit OK. When I go to my communication and create a presentation, hit OK. I have my hyperlink up here. Click on this and I have my hyperlink down here as well. So the hyperlinks being embedded into the rules now mean I have less chance of putting out incorrect information. So coming back to file here, we'll have a quick look at the solution center. By clicking on this, I can come into the solution center. Once again, this option here, click on Solibri Solution Center, and this takes me into the online center. Just wait for my internet connection to speed up here a bit. Sorry, as soon as this comes through, it's always the way. So I'm just going to log in here. Try to remember my password. Nope, that's not the right password. Sorry about this. Actually, we'll try this one. Sorry. That's unusual. It's always the way when you're online. There we go. So once we've logged in, we can start to see the ins and outs of how the Solution Center works. So the summary page here, obviously we have Cadimage Group. This is a summary of our company with our users. We can click into the users. We have the option here to add a user, edit a user, or remove a user. Number of licenses. Every person we can assign licenses to, so if I don't want specific people using a license, I can just turn their options off for either Solibri Model Checker, Model Viewer, or the IFC Optimizer. And then we also have user pool management. Now this is quite good for multi-site offices. For example, if you were looking at an international company that had an office in Auckland, an office in Sydney, one in, I don't know, Dubai perhaps, you could set up multiple pools. So you could have Sydney office, Auckland office, Dubai office, and assign a number of licenses to each of those offices. You can then assign specific users to specific user pools, so they can only grab licenses that are assigned to their selected office. So it's quite a nice little function. Obviously it's a case of first in, first served. You also have the option of being able to borrow licenses. So if you are going to be working somewhere where you know you don't have internet activity, you can borrow a license for a period of 1 to 14 days, which is done through Solibri Model Checker. We also have, I'm just going to jump back into my rule set manager here. If I click on rule set manager, something that we've just discovered is quite a nice little function. This here, we have in here an accessible toilet rule, if more than 6 toilets. Now we have in here sub-rule options. And we have this option, check all model components if passed. So in here we have, this is basically saying if this rule, if we have more than 6 toilets, we go to the next stage, which is the accessible toilet checking. So obviously if we have more than 6 toilets, one of those has to be accessible. And we have down here, include building, numeric input number 6. Yes, that's okay, that's passed. So it then moves on, so it steps down into the next rule and runs this one. So with this sub-rule function is quite a powerful tool in regards to creating rules within rules within rules. So you could actually create quite complex, quite powerful rules now quite simply. That's kind of all we've got time for at the moment. If you do have any questions or any comments, please feel free to email us, solibri support@cadimagegroup.com, or you can email me, tate@cadimagegroup.com as well, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Just like to thank you, obviously, once again on behalf of Cadimage Group for your time, and hopefully we look forward to dealing with you all again in the near future. Thank you for your time.